Good morning, everybody. I'm here with Ashlin, and we're going to talk some insurance today for your e-commerce business. We're going to wait a little to get some people in the chat. How are you today, Ashlin?
I'm doing good. It's a little rainy here in Indiana today, but doing great.
Don't talk about rain. We've had days and days and days and days of rain. Thank goodness we missed the hurricane. No, we missed it.
Okay, good.
Went to the Tampa area, which always gets racked lately. The Gulf of Mexico stuff always gets racked with the hurricanes. But now it's up in the Carolinas, I believe.
Yeah, I think this is what's hitting us outside today.
Yeah. Good morning, Tommy. Bargain Effect. Good morning. Yeah, so it's
It looks like it's sunny there today, though.
Finally, yeah. So it'll be in the regular mid-90s again. Not like we had somebody in the chat yesterday from Vegas who said it was 112. But it's a dry heat.
About 90 here.
Really?
112. But everyone says like Vegas, it's a dry heat. It's not the same. Indiana is so moist. We have such a high, like our what is that called? Where it's like the moisture in the air.
Humidity level.
Thank you. We have such crazy humidity here. Like you go outside and it's 90, it feels like 110. It just
just like here.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm
Although
headed
Vegas,
away Sunday. I'll be there Sunday.
Oh, will you?
Yep, I land Sunday afternoon and then I'll fly back out on Thursday. So I'll be there for a conference.
Whereabouts?
So I'll be in Tampa.
Wow.
Yeah, so I saw your tropical storm come through and I was like, ugh, really? This is going to be the first time I get to travel and see some e-com family, and there's a tropical storm. So I'm glad to hear it's all gone.
Yeah. So you're going to hook up with Casey over there? You're going to see him?
I think he's coming. I hope so. I miss everybody. This will be the first time I got out since COVID. So
nice. So what is it? Is it just an insurance thing?
So it's Jim Cockram's event, Proven Conference. So he's expecting over 1,000 people.
Wow.
I'm excited to see everybody again.
Nice. Well, people are starting to come in. Bargain Effect, good morning. Susanna's Chronicles. Love. Well, now it's Hollis Love. It used to be Love Hollis. Good morning. Thank you, everybody, for coming in. Well, Ashlin specializes in e-commerce insurance for e-commerce people like just about everybody in the chat. So why don't you introduce yourself and tell everybody what you do?
Yeah, so my name is Ashlin Hadden. I'm the owner of Ashlin Hadden Insurance. I am located here in the great state of Indiana, in the middle of the cornfields and the soybeans. That's about all we've got here. I have specialized in e-commerce insurance for going on 5 years now. We do everything from general liability, product liability, workers' comp insurance, cargo insurance, all the way to home, auto, and life insurance. I started in this business kind of as a fluke. One of my customers came to me and said, "Hey, Ashlin, Amazon's talking about this liability policy, and I don't know anything about it. What do you know?" And I was like, one, I didn't even know that there were third-party sellers on Amazon. I don't know what e-commerce insurance entails. Go away. And he didn't listen, and he kept bugging me. So finally, I was able to broker a deal with one of the carriers. And he came to me and was like, "Hey, I've got this Facebook group, and there's 15,000 of us in here that need this insurance. Can you help us?" And I really just kind of fell in love with, because you guys are like the redheaded stepchildren. Nobody knows what you do. Nobody understands what you do.
That's
you
about
guys
it.
Struggle for everything. Like everything that you do is a struggle. And I kind of just fell in love with that. And I kept hearing story after story. And I just decided that this is what I wanted to do. This is the family I wanted to be in. I love the camaraderie. Like this podcast is like, where else can you go where you truly try to help each other grow and learn and be better and make more money? And I just, you guys are amazing. You're crazy. Absolutely crazy.
That's about it. Glutton for punishment.
You are a glutton for punishment, and
That's about it.
I wanted to help. So that's kind of how I got into e-commerce, and I've never looked back. It's a joy, and I love it. And when I get up in the morning, I roll over and see how Amazon's been sued to see how I could help protect you guys.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been great.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah, and I've even went to China to source with clients to see how you guys are sourcing to make sure that I'm able to protect you guys the right way as you guys are out creating your own brands and sourcing from overseas. So
that's awesome.
I'm in the ditches with you guys. I'm there.
That's awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
Hello, Michael Whalen. Thanks for coming in. Yeah. So did you go to, I know once a year they have like the bargain market in China, where all the buildings, where all the manufacturers are open, and that's what you did? You went there?
So we got to walk the Canton Fair. Not the whole thing, because that thing is ginormous, but about 6 hours one day, and we probably didn't even get to an entire floor. I mean, it was just absolutely insane. Our flight was delayed, so I didn't really get to spend much time there. I wish I could have spent more time there, but I literally flew in, did the conference, walked the fair, and flew out the next day. So I think I was on ground maybe 4 days.
Wow. And did any of the people that you were with, did they make deals? Did they do private label? They did.
Yeah.
So that's interesting because everybody, I guess that's a dream that, I want to do my own private label thing so I don't have to rely on sourcing or picking up stuff. What kind of liabilities are with private label stuff?
Great question. So you've got liability no matter what you're selling. If you're just reselling an item, you still have some liability. But when you come to private label, you are now saying, I am 100% responsible for this product. So let's say I decide to private label, where's my camera? I decide to private label this pen. Now, if somebody takes this pen and jabs it in their eye, and now they have to have eye surgery, I am 100% responsible for that claim. If I'm just reselling this item, then my insurance company can say, okay, well, Uniballs is responsible for this item, so we're going to try to take all of the liability and put it back on them. So if I'm private labeling and there's $1 million claim, I'm paying the $1 million. If I'm a reseller and there's $1 million claim, really the big expense is going to be for defense. For your insurance company to hire an attorney and say, this is not my client's fault. You need to get them out of this.
Wow.
So for a real life example that I like to share is we had a third-party seller who was selling something absolutely insignificant. Let's just say it was a mouse, like a computer mouse. They FBA fulfilled it, shipped it to the customer. The customer walked out, didn't see the box, tripped over the box, broke his hip and broke his clavicle, sued Amazon, sued UPS, and sued my third-party seller. Okay.
Wow.
My third-party seller had nothing to do with this dude tripping over a box, but he still got listed in that lawsuit. And if he didn't have insurance, then he would have had to hire an attorney and have his attorney defend him from this lawsuit. But since he had insurance, the insurance company hired the attorney to defend him. And it was over $30,000 in legal fees just to get this dude out of the lawsuit because some idiot tripped over a box. So even if you're not private label, you still absolutely could be sued for somebody else's mistake. You don't even have to do anything wrong, and somebody else could pull you into a lawsuit.
Wow. So even on the first example, even though they weren't supposed to poke themselves in the eye with a pen, but they did, they could still sue you?
Absolutely. Here's another one, crazy one, Paul. This isn't my customer. This is just one that I read about a couple of days ago. Do you know those baby Bjorns or whatever? They wrap around your body and you stuff the kid in the top and they hold the kid against. Okay. This couple had it on and the baby was in it and they were out for a hike and the mom tripped and fell and they sued the manufacturer of the baby Bjorn.
Why? Did the baby fall out?
The baby fell out.
Ooh. But I mean, it wasn't the manufacturer's fault.
It wasn't the manufacturer's fault, but they sure had to pay out $3.6 million because the baby fell out.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, because she tripped, but they're still responsible, even though she's the one that tripped because the baby fell out.
Wow.
So just remember, it doesn't matter what you're selling. Somebody can sue you for any reason.
So why didn't she sue the shoe company that for the sneakers or whatever she was wearing?
That's a good idea.
I mean, why the baby thing? Did she say that it was causing me to lean forward? And
no, it was because the baby fell out of it and that they didn't make enough precautions to make sure that the baby wouldn't fall out if she tripped.
Should have sued the parents for not teaching her how to walk correctly.
Or the facility who she tripped over. Like if she was out for a walk in the park, then sue the park. I mean, it's a rock. You tripped over a rock. You're an idiot. I mean, what else do you expect?
So there's always liability that we have when we're resellers. There's always liability that we have to be aware of.
Absolutely. And it's the biggest question we get when we talk to clients is, well, how much is it? And I'm telling you, Paul, as you can see from your quote, it's really not that expensive. If you're just reselling items, you can get a policy under $40, $50 a month that's going to give you $1 million worth of coverage. Would you ever need $1 million as a reseller? Probably not. But that's the base policy. And if you do get sued, you've got that peace of mind that the insurance carriers are gonna cover you. We all know that insurance companies don't like to pay claims, right? I mean, that's well known. So they hire the best darn attorneys to get you out of things like that. They just don't want to pay claims. So they're going to try to do their darndest to get you out of any type of liability claim.
Wow. And Michael said that, how about McDonald's with the hot cup of coffee?
Yes.
Same thing, sue them.
He sued them because the coffee was hot. So now they have to put labels on it saying, hey, FYI.
Yeah, you didn't order iced coffee.
Right.
You ordered hot coffee. I'm sorry, there's somebody working outside there. And the reason, too, I'm doing this is because I guess a lot of you in here know, and I know there's still more people coming in. I know there's going to be a lot of people watching this afterwards. Excuse me. I'm fighting a cold.
Ugh.
I recently opened up a booth at an antique mall. And as a lot of you also know that by now, I was hoping to be living back north, back home, and that's not going to happen for another year. So my original policy lapsed. So I figured I'm gonna write it with Ashlin now, and I'm gonna be totally open about it, and I'm gonna show you guys what it's gonna take and what we're doing with it. But I want to hit one thing because, you know, I haven't done as many business shows as I'd like, but every time I bring it up, people say, oh, my homeowner's insurance covers that. My homeowner's insurance will cover my eBay stuff. My eBay stuff's in the barn next door, but my homeowner's insurance will cover me for everything. It doesn't, right?
No, unless you can lie to your homeowner's insurance to say, I've got 15,000 toothbrushes because I like a new toothbrush every time I brush my teeth.
Right.
You're going to know it's for a business. And they won't cover it. Business is business. Personal is personal. Your personal insurance is never going to cover your business. Your business is never going to cover your personal. Now, there might be a little overlap with, like, if you had a personal computer that you can say is for your business, but other than that, your inventory is not covered. So if you have a fire, you have a theft, anything like that, and you've got $15,000 worth of inventory sitting over there and something happens, you are SOL. There is nothing that is going to help you unless you have a business policy with inventory coverage.
So now that just opened up, and to be honest with everybody, she sent me a proposal, whatever. I didn't sign it yet because I wanted to do it all live. You just brought up an interesting point that I didn't even think about. I have half my inventory at a booth. I have half my inventory in a bedroom. unfortunately, I just bought a large lot of movie posters in the garage. But now when I list, when I work on my inventory in the booth, I'm using my computer, my phone. So is that part of the business stuff that's covered?
Depends on who owns it. So are you using it as a business write-off on your taxes?
I can, yes.
Yeah, then absolutely that could be part of your business.
Okay. Is my
Prep materials?
What was that?
Your prep materials, your dyno printer, your boxes and packaging and all of that stuff is business personal property. Everything that your business owns can be added to the policy.
Okay. Thank you, everybody, for coming in. If you do have questions, put it in the chat. Put a couple of question marks before it so it'll stand out and I'll see it, and we'll do our best to answer them. I know we can't get very specific because it's going to be between you and her, but maybe some generalized we could do.
That question from Michael that says, does your policy cover multiple locations? Michael, you can add multiple locations to a policy. So a big question that we get a lot is, well, I use a prep center. And 9 times out of 10, your prep center doesn't have coverage for your items. So first and foremost, if you're using a prep center, ask the question, do you have coverage for my business personal property? And if they say yes, then say, hey, can you send me a certificate of insurance showing that you have, it's called BPP of others, that you've got business personal property of others. Make sure that you've got proof of that. If they don't, or you don't trust that they do, you can add that coverage to your policy. You just need to know the location of their prep center, and then we can extend coverage to that location. We've seen where like prep centers just poof, disappear, and people have $50,000 of inventory over there, and there's nothing that they can do about it. If you'd have that location added to your business personal or your business policy, they would cut you a check and you'd be on your way, and you wouldn't even care that prep center went out. You'd buy more inventory.
And that would be the same as Amazon FBA.
Amazon covers it once it's in their custody. This is anything outside of Amazon's custody.
Okay. Now, what about, because like I used to do back in the old days, and actually what I'm going to be doing soon, I hope, is I'll be packing my truck and setting up at a flea market. Is it covered there? Is it covered in my truck and transported to the flea market?
Transit coverage there's a little bit for transit coverage just normally. But I would say if you're going to be moving it from one location to another location and setting up at a fair, just email your agent and say, hey, can you add this location? I'm going to be setting up the fair from July 15th to July 30th. And add it to the policy. That way, if anything does happen, there's no way for the insurance company to come back and say, well, we didn't know that you were doing that. So I always say, communicate with your agent, let them know what you're doing. That way there's no issues if something were to come up.
Cool. All right. So what kind of information do you need from somebody, or do you want to just start with mine? Like, let's start with mine. What do you need from me? So I sent you pictures, I think, of my booth.
Yes, so we send pictures of booths. So the biggest thing that we need to get a quote is your business name, your address, anticipated sales. Your policy is very, very much based on what you sell, where you're sourcing from, and how much you're selling. If you're selling $10,000 a year, it's going to be cheaper than if you're selling $1 million a year. If you're selling fidget spinners with knives on the end of it, it's going to be more expensive than if you're just selling, pens and pencils. Right. So we've set up the application process to just do the basics. We know what you're doing, and we ask the basic questions to get you a quote. It's not going to take you 50 minutes to fill out the application. What is your business name? What is your location? Where are you selling at? How much inventory do you have? How much coverage do you want for your inventory? What are your sales? So those are the basic things that we need to get your quote going. And then we shop it for you, which I've already done for Paul prior to this call. So we've already found the best price for him. And then we kind of go over coverages. Your base policy has $1 million in general liability and $1 million in product liability. So let me break down what the difference of those are. General liability is going to be what you do or say as a business. I've got this pen and I put on my listing that this pen is going to make you look 10 pounds skinnier just by holding it next to your face. And I buy this pen and I said, well, crap, this pen makes me look fatter. I'm going to sue you for false advertisement. That's general liability. That's what you do or say.
Okay.
Then I take this pen, jab it in my eye, and cause damage. That's product liability. That's what my product has done to harm someone else. So your policy comes with both. If you're shopping online and you see somebody saying, hey, I can get you a policy for $25 a month, make sure it has product liability. It has been our experience as we start looking at our competitors. There's people out there selling $25 a month policies without product liability. You sell products. You need product liability.
Now, because Amazon, I stopped doing Amazon FBA because literally they're going a little crazy, I think. They started asking, for data sheets, product data sheets. Like I sell brand new action figures. And I can't sell Legos anymore because it's a choking hazard. But they can sell Legos because they're Amazon.
Right.
So to try to get these things from Hasbro or Mattel, it's been 2 months. I'm still waiting for Mattel to get me these sheets just to give to Amazon. It's like, why don't you have these things on your website for everybody? Do you need those for like Amazon does for the products that we sell?
No. So as long as you provide us a link to what you're selling, we look through and just make sure there's nothing crazy on there. We know you're reselling and we're comfortable knowing that we're going to be able to go back to the manufacturer if something were to happen. Now, if you were private label, then yes, we would say, okay, hey, Paul, I need to see your safety data sheets. If you're selling supplements, we need to see your FDA approvals, those types of things. But that's only if you're private labeling. If you are just reselling, we really just look through the products to make sure you're not selling like explosives and fireworks and guns and that kind of stuff. But we don't need any of that crap.
Okay.
We're just reselling.
Hi, Jennifer. Thanks for coming in. Oh, everybody, thank you for coming in. Like I said, if you got a question, if something comes to mind, put it in the chat. Just put a couple of question marks before so it'll stand out. So, okay. So I showed you my inventory.
Yep.
I told you my inventory.
Yep.
I source, true, but I also buy direct from distributors because I've been a retailer now for, 40 plus years. What is this? I have no idea what I might be picking up to sell. It could be plush, shirts, figurines. It could be a set of knives. So would the insurance not cover the knives or increase because of the one sale?
So as long as we're looking at just reselling, you can do a shirt, a plush, like those types of things don't matter. If you're doing kitchen knives, we don't care. If you are doing like self-defense knives, that type of thing, that's where the insurance company comes back and says, okay, we might need to increase your price a little. Now, they only audit once a year. I hate to say this, but just don't do it around audit time. If they see it, they'll come to me and say, hey, Ashlin, did you know that Paul's selling self-defense knives? Either he needs to remove it or we might need to switch carriers and move you to a high-risk carrier, something like that. They're not just going to not cover it. If something were to happen and it was on your policy, or if something were to happen and it was on your listing, then they're on the hook for it, unfortunately, to say that. So if you have any questions as you're outsourcing, if you're a client of mine, I'm on Facebook all the time. Shoot me a picture and say, hey, Ashlin, I'm thinking about adding this to my inventory. What do you think? And I'll be like, yeah, absolutely. That's great. Or nope, please don't. I will be definitely very honest with you guys. Just remember, as you're sourcing, to think about, is it worth getting sued over? Is making a couple of bucks worth going through the hassle of going through a lawsuit?
So one thing that we all are concerned about when we're sourcing is shipping it. Man, is it going to cost me an arm and a leg to ship this, to make $5-10? And now, is it worth the liability? So it's business. It's your business. You got to do what you got to do to protect yourself.
And I always try to take the policy premium and divide it by your units. If you're selling 100 units, this might be 10 cents a unit to have the insurance for it. Just kind of break it down that way and say, okay, is it worth peace of mind knowing that I have insurance for 10 cents a unit?
Right. Hi, Des. Good morning, Des. Shamrock Pixie, that's Des.
Just because you sit behind a computer doesn't mean you're invincible. People don't realize that they're suing a third-party seller like you. They think they're suing Amazon. They think they're like, oh, well, I'm going to have big buck Amazon, give me this. And they don't realize what they're actually doing. You're not invincible because you sit behind a computer.
Yep, they think they're just going after the deep pockets.
Yep.
Hello, Sandy Kirk. So, all right. So I went through my stuff. I believe I gave you everything, right? I gave you new action figures, used action figures, artwork. Man, oh my God, there's so much stuff that I sell. I have done knives like this OCC one and stuff, but it's not a regular thing that I bring in all the time. Hello, Stephen. Hold on, Loot Raider. So what other stuff do you need from me on that?
So you and I are good. We've got everything that we need. So we've gone through the general liability and product liability that's on there. Your policy also has medical payments, which is kind of like I try to call as like your hush money. You were to sell that knife right there that you just showed everybody and somebody cut their finger off and had to go to the ER. Your policy has medical payments to say, hey, let me pay for those medical bills so you don't sue me. Then if they do decide to sue you, that's where that $1 billion kicks in.
All right.
So all of that, can I give them a price?
Yeah, hold on one second, because I just thought, and I'm always looking for the laugh, but you said about the person poking themselves in the eye. I just bought several hundred movie posters, and I'm thinking, so somebody could buy one of these posters and eat it and get really sick, and they could sue me for that.
Yeah, so we've seen, not necessarily a poster, but it was a baseball card. Somebody got a paper cut, and it got infected and sued the person that they bought the card from.
Goodness, that is
paper cut.
That's ridiculous. That is totally ridiculous.
We've also seen one, because everyone's like, well, I just sell used books. I don't need insurance. We've also seen one where somebody said that there was mold in a book and it got in their lungs and they had ended up having respiratory issues because mold in a used book that they sold.
Now, but because I have seen that. What if it's in the listing that it looks like this black in some of the pages is possibly mold? Does that cover you?
No, but it still absolutely could sue you. Here's the deal. You don't have to do anything wrong. I could sell you something and have all the warning labels in the world. I'll give you an example. We just went through a claim with this one. Those that you put them in your door frame and you like pull them down like this and it's an exercise.
Yes. Yep.
Thing. Okay. One of our clients, she had a video on how to install and the warning on the risks. Warning labels on the items, how to book, a YouTube video on how to install it, all of this. She did everything right to the T. The dude installed it incorrectly, snapped him in the eye. He was a surgeon. Now we've already settled, but he was asking for $3 million and she did everything right. They ended up settling a little over $800,000 that our insurance company paid out. But she couldn't have done one thing different, Paul. It was perfect. All the warning labels, and she still had to pay. So you can warn them all you want, but they can still sue you. That warning label is just to try to help deter them from suing, but they still have every right to sue.
Wow, that's crazy. Like Sandy Kirk said, when you sell old baseball cards, There's still gum in them if you haven't opened them.
They can choke on an old gum.
Yeah. Hello, Yellow Brick Road Reselling. Good morning. Thanks for coming in.
Good morning.
That is crazy. All right. So 2 locations. I gave you my inventory. I told you everything, and you came up with. Now, I didn't tell you about my computer.
No, so we can increase that personal property value.
Okay. I didn't give you any personal property. So does that mean my shelving too?
So you gave me, you want me to say how much?
Yeah.
Okay. 6,000 is what you told me in business personal property.
Business personal that's my inventory.
So we can
that's just
that.
For the booth.
Okay. So what would you like to see that total amount be?
Yeah, we went over that already. I think the total amount, well, now it's like 11 to 12,000 because I just bought that enormous lot of movie posters.
Okay. Including your computers and your printers and everything total.
Well, I would say 13,000.
Okay. We'll increase.
Computer stopped. Every time I say that C word, she turns on.
Oh, really?
Well, I changed it from what's her name?
Alexa.
Yeah, to COMPUTER. Well, I wanted to do Jarvis, but that wasn't an option.
All right. So, $1 million in general liability, product liability, medical payments, $13,000 in inventory. Pay in full amount would be $615.61 for the year.
Wow.
So under $650, and you've got $1 million in coverage and $13,000 in inventory coverage.
Wow. And I gave you the address of my house where everything is and my antique mall booth.
And Panani Loop?
Epinine.
There you go.
Yep.
Epinine.
And then Melbourne, Florida for the booth.
I think so, yes.
Maddie, stop. Maddie, down. There's somebody working outside, so she's curious.
Aww.
Maddie, go lay down. Go lay down.
Yellow Brick Road. I started using Ashlin 2 years ago, and it makes me sleep better at night. Thank you.
Oh, very cool.
I'm glad to hear that.
Very cool. Makes me want to know times I could have sued someone and gotten rich, but I didn't look at the guilt. I should sue Paul on YouTube. You blame. If I got a seizure watching your videos, might not win. Yeah, right. What is this? My friend had a granddaughter who overheated from a malfunctioning heater. She has brain damage. They are suing anyone who touched the product, including the shipping company. Wow.
I'm sorry to hear that, but that's the reason you have insurance. Because the lawyers sue anyone in the chain of command. So like she said, anyone who had touched this product, anyone who sold the product, shipped the product, stored the product, everyone in the line gets pulled into the lawsuit.
Gloria, thank you for coming in. Good question. What company are we binding the coverage with?
So Paul's best price was with Hartford.
Hartford, Connecticut, right?
Yep. They are in Hartford, Connecticut. Yes. Wow,
excellent. I was told if you cannot afford the insurance, you might not want to be in business.
Ding, ding, ding. And that's what I'm saying. Like if you can't do 30 to 50 bucks a month, maybe this isn't the best thing for you to do. Think about, if you had a brick and mortar, there's no way that you would open a brick and mortar store without an insurance policy. So stop thinking that you're untouchable because you sit behind a computer.
Well, typically, if you have a brick and mortar, you're renting, and they wouldn't allow you to do a lease without insurance coverage.
Right.
So I just grabbed your info, and I'm going to put it right there. All right, so I'm just going to pin Ashlin's info on the top of the chat. I think everybody should reach out to her and find out what she could do for you and your business, because it's a peace of mind. Absolutely. And this year, I don't know if everybody heard, but this year, more than any time in history, more people have filed to open up a small business. They have filed for their tax number or corporation more than any time in history. So there's more and more people getting into small business.
And this year in 2021, claims are up 180%.
Wow.
Because when the economy's bad, people look to get rich quick. So they sue more, hoping that somebody will give them a big chunk of money that they don't have to work for. So now more than ever, you should have insurance.
Yeah. Oh, Yellow Brick Road says something interesting. I love that I'm now covered if I get a car accident with the car full of inventory. Normal car coverage wouldn't cover that.
Yep.
Same thing that people think that their homeowner's insurance covers everything.
Exactly.
And it doesn't.
Yep.
Wow. So what else do I need to know, or am I good now?
You're done. So you are issued. I will email you your policy number. You are covered as of today.
That was painless. No, don't even need a Band-Aid. That was
geez. So that does bring up a good point. Remember that your insurance is never going to cover anything that happened prior to you getting a policy. So Paul's insured as of today, but if he had something last week that he sold that ends up having an issue, his insurance policy doesn't cover that. So just remember, the quicker you get your insurance policy, the faster you're going to have your coverage. We'll never cover anything that happened prior to your insurance. So
and Yellow Brick Road says she's Tamara Augustino.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, Dana, hitting the thumbs up. Ashlin, should we call you?
The easiest thing to do is to go on the website, because it's a very quick and painless application process. But if you have specific questions that you think that you need to talk to us, you absolutely can call the office. I think you put it on there, 765-432-8989. But we get this, like, I have a unique situation. We know what you're doing, that we have the questions on the website to ask those questions. Are you drop shipping? Those kinds of things. Like we know what you're doing. So try the application first, but if you don't feel like the application has answered your question that you're looking for, then absolutely give us a call.
And you do write through the whole country, right?
We write through the whole country, yes. We are licensed in every state except Hawaii now.
Okay. And Adventures in Florida, excuse me, you missed a lot. just review. But still, if you have a question, just put it in the chat. Put a couple of question marks before. Yes, Gloria, New York is still part of the country. I think, right, that you still have that governor.
As of today.
Yeah. I know they're having a problem with their governor, but man.
Sometimes, like what's going on right now in Florida, the insurance carriers will say, hey, we've got a memorandum on like inventory, where they'll say, okay, we can't do inventory right this second, but once the storm passes, then we can do inventory again. Stuff like that does happen. So we can issue your liability policy, and then once the storm goes through, then we can add that inventory back on there, things like that. So just bear with us as storms come through. Sometimes we might not be able to issue everything right that day, but it might take a couple of days. So
yeah, it's just like when we're selling a house.
Yep.
If as soon as they name the storm, you can't bind anything.
Right.
So you got to
wait.
Same
thing with insurance. Yep.
Okay. Yep. What is the website name?
www.ecom.insure. So ECOM.INSURE. No.
Right, yeah, I think it combined in the pinned message.
Oh.
Hello, Aqua Girl. Thank you for coming in. Michael likes the information. So anyone else have any questions? Does anybody see the need that they need insurance for their e-com business? Yeah.
All of them.
Yeah, definitely.
And then if you guys have questions as you're rewatching the video, find me on Facebook. It's Ashlin D. Hadden. Feel free to message me. If you guys mention this podcast and mention #Paul, then you guys will also get 50% off any agency fees.
Nice.
So it's not an affiliate or anything. We're not allowed to do that. Paul is just wanting his community to be taken care of. So mention #Paul and you get 50% off your agency fee.
Very nice. Very nice. Very nice. Well, I put it in there again. I put the telephone number. I put the agency, Ashlin. I'd love to have you on my channel. Stop copying me, Yellow Brick. We were scheduled last year, but your coworker was in the ER. Hope she recovered.
Yeah. Thank
Yellow
you.
Brick, why don't you just take the first interview I did with Ashlin and put it on your channel? Tommy and I met Ashlin about 4 or 5 years ago at ECom Chicago. We took her class she had, and she is an awesome person.
Oh, thank you. ECom Chicago was great. I can't wait to get back to conferences.
Yeah, I know.
Are you going anywhere this year?
It seems like more and more that now that things are starting to recover, people are damn happy to get out of the house and start doing things. Chicago's a little bit nuts for me to get to, and Vegas is even worse. It's cheaper for me to go to
Vegas. I had like 6 conferences in 1 year, and I'm like, I'm just over it.
Well, I'm over it. I'm dying to go to ASD in Chicago, but not Chicago, Vegas.
In Vegas, yeah, I'll be there.
It's easier to go from Boston to Vegas than it is from Florida to Vegas. You always got to stop in Dallas or Houston and then go over.
I will be at ASD. I'm speaking 3 times over there.
Oh, very cool.
So I'm excited to.
Yeah, we're hoping we can go. My wife just had surgery, so she has to do 2 weeks now of physical therapy.
Okay.
And then after that, we're going to hopefully go home for a couple of weeks. So I don't know if she could get the time off to go. But they did a road show because they canceled Las Vegas last year.
Oh, okay.
And one of the stops was Orlando. And it was good. Just half of the stuff was CBD. And I can imagine, okay, I'll do that. I'll get that for you. I can't imagine the liability with the vape shops and the CBD shops.
Yeah, so there's an actual national program for CBD products that we use. So we don't go to like the Hartfords and Travelers and Liberty Mutuals and things like that. There's an actual program just for CBD risks because the liability is super high.
Wow. And Loot Raider said that I must have the email wrong.
I think everything just mashed together. So it's just sales@ashlinhaddeninsurance.com. sales@ashlinhaddeninsurance.com.
And I'm just putting that in there now.
And then Gloria, yes. So Hartford and I have a national program for the last 4 years. They're the only ones been doing this for this long. And then we have, in our national program, we get a discounted price since we focus just on e-commerce sellers. So if you were to call Hartford direct, they will not have any idea what you're talking about because we are the only ones that have the national program, and you have to write it through our agency to get the e-commerce policy and to get the discounted price. So you got to go through us.
Very cool. Very cool. So what else do we need to know?
That's about it. We've covered a lot. If you've got employees that are working for you that are outsourcing. We've got coverage for workers' comp insurance. If you're shipping from overseas, we have transit coverage, cargo coverage. So if you're shipping containers over on a regular basis, we have coverage for that. So basically, once you fill out the application, we ask those types of questions. Are you using your personal vehicle for business use? Do you have a 3PL? Are you shipping overseas? Those kinds of things. So we're asking those questions to have you give us the information about what your risks are. And then we provide a quote based on that. So we provide you a comprehensive quote that's going to cover everything that you're doing. And then if you say, hey, Ashlin, I don't want that. I don't want to pay for cargo, or I don't want to pay for that. Then we can remove it off there. But at least you know up front, this is everything that you're going to need to be covered. And then we kind of just break it down from there. Like I said in the beginning, we also do home, auto, and life insurance. One of the biggest things that we're seeing right now is when there's two people who own a business, that if that person were to pass away, that you would struggle to continue to run your business. So we have what's called key man life insurance, and it goes on both lives. So if either one of you who run the business pass away, you would get that, the business would get that big chunk of money to help continue to run the business, to find a replacement, maybe to hire a coach to help you move forward. If you don't know exactly what you're doing. So kind of keep that in mind too, that we also offer key man life insurance if there's a key person in your business besides you.
Wow, that's very cool. You said you do insurance for overseas shipments. Were you affected much by the ship that was stuck in the canal there?
We didn't have anybody. One of my best friends who runs an agency out in New York, he had 3 clients that had to file claims.
Now, so you file a claim, but what if like a month, because I guess the ship finally is at where it's supposed to be months later. Yeah. So what happens if you get the inventory months later?
So I don't know how the carrier he was at, but typically then they just refund the money back to the insurance company. Fortunately, I don't think any of the claims were paid because it didn't disappear. It didn't sink. The insurance company was waiting to see what actually happened, and it was returned. So unfortunately, they were just late getting their shipments.
Very late.
Not that it just disappeared.
One of my distributors that I get Japanese toys from said that some of their dates that was supposed to be released in June and July now are not until next year.
Yeah.
It's been so bad. And Gloria said, so to get started, best to complete the application to get a quote? Yes,
that's the best way to do it. And then once we get the carrier determined, then we'll call you with the quote.
Very cool. So any other questions from anyone in the chat, please put them in and we'll see if we can get to them. Ashlin's been very nice to stay here with us and give this information out and get me rolling again.
Like I'm excited for you. I think this is going to be fun.
Yeah, I'm going to be stuck in God's waiting room for another year. Huh?
Oh, are you doing your video live from the shop every day?
No, it's an hour away from my house.
Oh, okay.
So I do want to go there and do a live every once in a while at the booth. I think that would be cool.
Yeah.
And I've already done a couple of lives where I show the booth, because every time we go, it's like I just reorganize the whole thing. It's just the way I am. Not only add more stuff, but I reorganize it. And then I walk around. Like last week, there was a whole room of American Girl dolls.
Wow.
And I mean, this room was the size of I have a 3-car garage. It was the size of my 3-car garage. I never saw so many American Girl dolls in my life. And I don't deal in them, whatever. A couple of people do. And even they were amazed.
How are they getting them discounted enough to make profit on them?
I don't know. I don't even know where they're
like an insider.
Yeah, I don't even know where they're sold anymore. But they had one whole wall, had to be 10 feet tall by 12 feet wide, just dolls. Then they had a whole room or a whole wall of
like clothes and stuff.
Clothes, shoes, food, little Burger King bags, little plates with sausage and eggs on it, washer and dryer. I love the washer and dryer. It was $24.95 for both of them. I love that. But tables, everything was amazing. But yeah, in this place they have a lot of stuff, and this place is on Facebook all the time. So that's why I picked it, because at least they're active in social media.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for this important information need. So we hit everything. So you also do homeowners, you do auto.
We do. Yep. So we do everything that you're going to need. So you can have one agent that does your business, your home, your life insurance, everything.
Cool. Very cool. So if no one else has any more questions, we'll cut it here.
Perfect.
Thank
you so much for having me.
Yeah, if anybody does, all the information is there. Just review the video. We went through a lot of different things, a lot of good information, a lot of things now when you're sourcing you should keep in mind. So yeah, I mean,
and don't ever hesitate to reach out, ever.
So a lot of things I never thought of that people could sue you for. That's crazy, I mean, that is just really crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I tripped, so I'm gonna sue because my baby fell out of the pouch.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna sue the shoe people because maybe they didn't fit right. Or
maybe there was
or the park.
Right.
That's crazy stuff. And you deal with this every day.
Every day. Yep.
Now, when I was doing real estate heavy, I always used to say, I've seen all the crap already. And then after a while you say, no, when you think you've seen it all, something else comes up that just blows you away.
Yep.
You must be the same way. When you think you've seen it all.
Yeah. Like literally, I had a client last week call me. He's like, hey, because he's got like a resale shop. So he's a brick and mortar also. He's like, hey, I had a customer come in and scratched his arm, and now he's demanding money and is going to say that he sues. Like, I literally texted the student, said, send me a picture of your wound, is what he called it. It literally was a scratch, Paul, like scratch, a scratch. And it's like, I thought I've seen it all, but this dude wants to sue over scratching his arm on a shelf.
Wow.
People are just so money hungry and don't want to work and just want a handout. It's absolutely crazy how many claims for stupidity. It's just, if you were really hurt and my client did something wrong, I totally get it. But you scratched your arm on a shelf. It didn't even draw blood. And you went to the ER. It's like, this is
went to the ER for a scratch?
Yes, absolutely. He went to the ER for a scratch.
Man, I would have told him, get the hell out of here. What are you wasting our time for?
Seriously.
I'm just grabbing your email again for Gloria. I guess people just look at, some people just, I don't know, that's what they focus on. They'll why focus on trying to make money for myself when maybe I can make money the easy way? And I don't know. I can't tell how people think.
They're just money hungry and greedy.
One last question.
Okay.
Do you have anybody do you do insurance for anybody that flips automobiles?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Because I bought one that I want to flip. And I still haven't sold it yet. I think I called you once because around here, Allstate advertises only pay for the insurance that you need.
Right.
And I had this Mercedes that I bought to flip. And in 2 years, I put 10 miles on it. So I think you told me that don't get into that because you get what you pay for.
Right.
So that was interesting, though. I didn't think of it that way.
Yeah, I mean, just if you're flipping cars, anything that happens, somebody can come back and say, well, Paul didn't install the brakes correctly, or Paul didn't install the airbag correctly. And when I got in a car accident, the airbag didn't go off. Even though you didn't touch the airbag, they could come back and say that you did. And now they died or permanent brain damage or whatever because you messed up something.
Right.
That's super, super risky.
Yeah.
Unless you're doing it as a full-time job and you're going to have an insurance policy for, a full-time gig, I wouldn't do it just for, 1 or 2 cars a year.
Right. Yeah, I just did it because I used to have the car way back when, but then I got a little ill, so I haven't used it, but I got to get rid of it.
To the toys.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Got to get rid of it. But all right. So if there's no other questions, everybody, we'll call it here.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for having me. This was great.
Yeah, no, I greatly appreciate you being in here. And
please, welcome to the family.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, so I guess I'm all set. I don't need anything.
Nope. I'll email you your policy number.
Excellent. Excellent. All right, everybody. Thank you, Ashlin.
Thank you.
Hopefully everybody reviews this, what you missed. A lot of good information in this video. Hope you subscribe to my channel. If you need information, just have some questions or concerns, reach out to Ashlin. She's very helpful. This is the second time we've had her on. Great information as always. So with that, thank you everybody for coming in. Thank you, Ashlin, for your time.
Have a great day, guys.
Have a great day, everybody. Bye.
Bye.